yes, Mother Harriet. We have to talk about her.
You aren't being a proper woman, therefore you must be a witch.
Be a witch. Be a witch. Be a witch. Be a witch. Be a witch. Be a witch.
You must be a witch.
Hello to the Missing Witches Coven. I am so super excited and giggly and wiggling in my seat to present to you someone that you heard about, whose book I quoted in our last episode. If you haven't listened to that episode, please go back and check it out now, or wait until you're finished listening to this conversation with the one and only that hoodoo lady, Sherry Shone. Thank you so much for sitting down with me, Sherry. I'll let you, I know you have a lot to say, and I'm so excited to hear as much of it as we can, but I'll let you tell our audience who. They've already heard me say who you are, so now I'll let you tell them who you are.
Absolutely. So I am that hoodoo lady. I started out in hoodoo, which is the African-American Southern tradition of folklore magic. It is something near and dear to my heart because it is part of my lineage, it's part of my culture, it's part of my ethnicity, it's who I am. When I think about hoodoo, I think about deliverance. I think about, I need the rent paid. I'm not going to get a crystal. I need the rent paid. That's what I think about when I think of hoodoo. So when you're getting ready to call an energy that's right now, then I want you to use hoodoo. And when you read my book that focuses on the Bible, which is that Hoodoo Guide, the Bible to Magic, that root work by an actual hoodoo reader, I really seriously mean this. This is what I do every day and every night. This is who I breathe and drink and sleep, is making sure that our ancestors and our guides are following that hoodoo wisdom. It's very inclusive. It's very diverse. It's Bible-based magic, but not restricted to a religion. So hopefully that's everything you need to know about hoodoo.
And about that hoodoo lady. And we'll get into
elevator pitch, right?
We'll get into your specific practice in a little bit, but I want to open because I think a lot of my contemporaries hear the word Bible and immediately, they think white supremacist tool for colonialism. And I mean, obviously we can't deny that the Bible has been used as... Oh
yes. It really has. It has been used as a tool for the restriction, the degradation, everything that you can think of that's hatred and fear and stress is part of that lineage of the Bible. From slaves to people that are immigrants, to people that are non-English speakers, to everything. They've used that tool to say, this is why you need to be a slave. This is why you need to be in captivity. This is why you need to be held down. And I say, actually, the Bible is a tool that can be used to flip all of that around on its head. It can be gender neutral. It can be religion non-specific. It can be a tool of you being able to take your power back. And that is how I want us to continue to use the Bible, as no longer this tool of fear.
And something that you opened your book with that was like, to me, it was like, duh, but aha at the same time, was that the Bible is African.
The Bible is African. The Bible starts with Mother Eve, who is that original genetic person womb that we came from Africa. All of that lineage, all of those Bible verses, all of that original text and language, that love language, was originally started in Mother Africa. Now, when we look at books of the Bible and we see words like Nebuchadnezzar, and we see words like Bathsheba, and we see all these other words, we kind of go, that doesn't really sound like European. And there's a reason. So, yeah, they're Egyptian for a reason because they all came from Africa. So, and that was, I got a book that started me on that. And it is called The Africans Who Wrote the Bible.
You actually mentioned this book in your book.
Gorgeous book. And that made me cry like no other, because the author to that, Nana Banshee Darkwa, doctorate, who does nothing but religious studies, she mentioned that even in Solomon, we talk about how Solomon speaks about he is black as night and he is pretty much shunned, but still follow his word. And when I said, wait, where did I read? I never read that. That isn't something we talked about in any Bible study. Is that the members of the Old Testament were ever of color, of any color. They were never women. They were never of color. Anyone that you had to follow was probably hetero male, probably European, probably had money. We didn't have that back then. None of us came from that. There's way too many of us with curly hair for for us all to come from straight hair. I'm sorry. That just
no, the facts are facts.
Right.
And in the book you mentioned, in the Bible, Solomon says, "I am black."
I am black.
But like you said, like that didn't come up in my Sunday school class.
That didn't come up in my Sunday school. I was reading another book that blew my mind just recently. That is The Lost Books of the Bible.
Thank you.
And this is from William Hahn. He wrote this around the 1800s. But basically, he talks about things that we never hear about in the books of the Bible. Specifically, who is Mary's mother and father? Wait, you mean that Mary? Yeah, that Mary. Let's talk about that Mary. That Mary was actually born into poverty to Joachim and Anna. That was her mother and father name. And at the age of 3, her mother, Anna, had a vision that her only daughter, her only child, that she was given to as a gift from God, yes, was going to be the mother of the Christ.
I just want to tell our listeners that Sherry is reacting to my face because my mouth is open because, once again, my Sunday school teachers missed this part about Mary's mother having prophetic visions. Please keep talking.
When I read that, I tossed the book down and I said, stop it. I said, you, sir, have got to leave me alone. I am done with you. I am done with you. It is from the book of Mary, chapter 8, where it talks about not only was she gifted with this vision that at age 3, she was going to be the mother of God, the mother of Jesus, but also she was sent away to live with other virgins, keep going, with other virgins that were also deemed to be fit to be part of some other religious work. And at age 14, she was released from that area where she could now be virginal enough to be the mother of Christ. Okay. So when I read all of that, I said, where are those other virgins? What were they doing? Okay. But there's so many of the questions in my head, right? But why are we not told the complete lineage? Why do we not get told that from the very beginning, so many of our women were part of this beautiful story of spell work? We have been used for spell vessels, for healing vessels, for life-giving vessels since eternity. And I think we need to carry ourselves as such. Don't let it fear us when someone tells us, oh, I'm just a woman. I can't speak out. Well, you know, actually, Joachim and Anna. And I know Joachim is definitely an English name that I've heard of all the time. What about you?
Of course.
Every
Very
day.
waspy. Very
It's
waspy.
very waspy. It's like, so when I see that, I say, wait, not only was Mary non-European, but Mary might have had a little Latin in her. Where did that come from? Okay. So then I'm reading that and I said, okay, so now we have the African, we have the Spanish and Latin, we have this empowered woman that from the age of 14 said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is my vessel. I'm using my body as a vessel to save the world. And we're not super women. We're not superheroes. Okay. I picked this book up and I said, okay, well, all right, then I'm just going to have to start. So my next book is speaking about the women that are heroes and heroines, because I believe we are both. We are both.
And this is the book that you're currently working on right now?
Yes.
Oh.
It talks about how we are heroes and heroines because of every bit of magic that we bring and everything we touch, from gargoyles to witches to Satanists to all of us. We are all so vital to this magic tradition. And it's no coincidence. We love our brethren and we love our non-gender specific roles as well. But that feminine role too, it is to be applauded. Okay.
I'm super, super, super excited to read your next book, but maybe we'll concentrate for another moment on the one that's...
Concentrate on this one, yes.
This one. Again, I'm going to say the title for our listeners. You've heard it about 40 times, but I really love this book. So The Hoodoo Guide to the Bible. There's more to the title, but if you search The Hoodoo Guide to the Bible by Shone, you will get this. It was a major eye-opener for me. And before I get too personal, I do want to talk about a little bit more about the text of the Bible, because again, my contemporaries and I we tend to concentrate on the nasty bits, the Leviticus bits, the abomination bits. But there's so much beautiful stuff in there. I'm thinking of Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind. I mean, that's like the classic Bible. Or Ecclesiastes, to everything there's a season, which the Byrds took their lyrics from. Do you have a favorite Bible verse that's one of those nice ones that we don't have to reframe or recontextualize?
I know there's so many beautiful ones. The ones that I love, other than the books that come from the Apocrypha, which is the hidden text, right? I do really appreciate those. But let me look at some of the ones that I absolutely adore. I'm going to go right from the book because, that's what good authors do, right? They start with their own book. When I look at what is a good thing to have, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Spirit. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future.
See, Jeremiah 29:11, wow, there really is stuff in there that's not going to break you down, that is going to lift you up.
It's going to lift you up. If you're in the middle of a protest, and you say, you know what, I'm going to go to this protest. And you go, why am I going? You know what, because Jeremiah 29, I have plans for you. There's a reason I'm going. If you're getting ready to go for an adoption of a special needs child, you know why I'm doing it? Because I have plans for you. Okay. Whew. This is what I'm saying when I say that you talk to your soul. You bring those up, and my great-grandmother that I talk about in the book, Gran, she would give us encouragement all the time with these little tidbits of wisdom that we went, well, the Bible's the best book ever. Yes, we got to see the other parts, but as you saw the other parts, she would do like what I talked about in the book where we changed it around. And we said, you know what? It's almost like in the dream world when you're doing dream therapy, and if you have a nightmare, many cognitive behavior therapists will tell you the first thing you need to do is take that dream that gave you a nightmare, go back into that dream and change the ending, right? Right?
Yes, yes.
And that's exactly what I'm saying is where that Bible has hurt you, be brave people. Go back into that verse, reestablish it, claim it, make it your own, make it gender free, make it religion neutral, make it something that uplifts you and gives you something. And if it's something that is there to bind or to cause about a restriction or something, then use that for your spell work. Because there's nothing more powerful than words.
Yes. I teased the turning a hurtful Bible verse into a helpful exercise in the last episode. So I'm going to jump to that now. You speak specifically about, and again, this really went right to the child in me, who was trying to figure out what to believe in the face of what she was told versus what she knew to be true, especially in terms of what women are capable of, what queer people are capable of, all of that. So Timothy 2:12, I'm going to read the verse and then can you turn it around for our listeners?
Absolutely.
Good. Here we go. Timothy 2:12. I do not permit a woman to teach or to have authority over a man. She must be silent. Now, Sherry Shone, flip it.
So you start to talk about, I do not permit a blank to teach or to have authority over blank. And then you have blank must be silent. That's what I want us to do. I want us to take away those pronouns for a second and talk about what is the spirit of Timothy 2:12. The spirit of 2:12 is to make sure that we are ensuring that there is silence when there needs to be silence, and that you are in complete control to where you can tell someone you need to be quiet. And I'm not going to permit you to have anything other than what I need you to say in this matter. This is exactly how we're going to do. And I don't care where you need to roll your head, bat your eyes, put on your ugly face, whatever you need to do. Whatever you need to do. Take that energy back. And what I do is I look at first the pronouns first. And I say, you know what? I do not permit a woman. I'm going to take that woman out. Because if I'm doing this verse to do any binding work where I want them to stop gossiping about me, where I want them to stop talking about me on my job, where I want someone to keep their name out of my partner's mouths in a foul way, any of that, then I'm going to take that out. Then I'm going to say, I permit a blank, and I'm going to say a person, a thing, an ex-lover, a boss, a leader, a ruler, a government, an agency, all of that. Okay, so we're going to start there. And we'll start with something really cute like Bunny Foo Foo. I do not permit little Bunny Foo Foo to teach or to have authority over who? To have authority over you, to have authority over your children, to have authority over your family, to have authority over your life, over your home, over those that love you. That's the words I want to get in there. Then I want to say, who's going to be silent? Well, we're going to put that same name, Bunny Foo Foo, must be silent, right? And then that changes that whole verse around to, I do not permit little Bunny Foo Foo to teach or to have any authority over me. Little Bunny Foo Foo, you must be silent. Ooh, now that's power.
Yeah, and like you're saying, you can obviously replace little Bunny Foo Foo with anything in your life that requires.
Yeah, when you're in the middle of going through a negotiation and you're dealing with a contract with some attorneys, and you have that other attorney that's doing opposing counsel, and you say, you know what, I need that attorney blank blank to get off and to be quiet, then I want you to put in that attorney's name. And some of the time people will say, well, I don't have a name, Sherry. I don't have a name. Do you have a descriptor? Do you have a descriptor? That person that leaves 3 horses down on Elk Street. Okay, that's good. That person that just drove that red car. That's real good. That third person that walked into my store and tried to steal any of my gemstones out of my store. That's good. Do that.
I mean,
right?
because if the idea is that we're talking to a great divine presence, then they don't need a name. You can, I mean, they're good. Whatever you're accessing with these words is going to understand your intention.
Absolutely. If your divine presence is as large as what our presence is, you're exactly right. They don't need a name. They need that intention. And they need that belief that when you say that with that intention and authority, then you know it's going to work, right? My great grandmother used to always tell me to quit digging up seeds that I planted. I would go plant something in the garden, and then I come back later on and pick it up and dig it up. Is it done yet?
I thought she was being metaphorical, but no, you were literally going and digging up the seeds that you had planted.
I would. We would be in Kansas on her she didn't have a farm or anything. She just had a regular house. And she would say, okay, now we're going to make some carrots. Okay, I'm going to go check on my carrots. And I'd dig it up. Little seed. Okay, Sherry, put that seed back in the ground, but I want to see it grow. You can't see it grow. Why? It needs to stay hidden. It needs to stay covered in the soil. Okay, so when we do our spell work, when I do my hoodoo work, many of the time my clients will say, but it hasn't been done yet. It's been 6 hours. It needs the dark. It needs the soil. It needs to grow. And then after it starts growing, how many of us have done a spell, first doubted it, put a little more magic into it, a little more oomph, right? Or really stank on it. And then came back because it got too big and said, ooh, I should have left it alone. Now it's on fire.
Yeah, my version of that is the drugs kick in the moment you take the second hit. The first hit kicks in the moment you take the second hit, and then it's too late.
You take the second hit, you go, I should have waited. It said an hour for it to take.
But I was impatient, and now.
Now I'm seeing stars and fish coming through the front window. I mean, all of it. And we do that magically too. I think that's something that whether you're a beginner practitioner all the way up to whether you have an actual divine name, many of us do the same thing. And that's why we're elders. That's why we have sage wisdom, because we have messed up really well. Really well.
So tell me about, your world in 2020. Like, what, from your perspective, is the message that needs to be broadcast through this Missing Witches Coven in 2020 in this moment?
So in this moment, I want us to be encouraged that Mother Earth, Gaia, whatever is your belief system, really has this under control.
Has plans for us.
They have been abused. They have been tormented. They have been ridiculed. We have done many things to hurt our earth. And they've played with us and said, well, maybe they'll learn. Maybe they'll learn. Okay, y'all are getting kind of silly. Okay. And it's just like when I was raising my daughter, she kept, mom, in the back seat of my little Chevette. Mom, when she was a baby. And finally, we were at a stoplight. It wasn't my finest moment, but I had a hairbrush. And I cocked it back because I was like, you have to be quiet. You're driving me crazy. You had to be. And it popped right aside of it. I felt so bad. But I think Mother Earth is now bringing out the hairbrush. And she is saying, I'm going to have to make you guys take notice that I am in control of this, that I will not have you hurt my plants and my wildlife and my forest and my water and my trees and my air. And unfortunately, that's causing so many people hurt because they don't know, because they don't have the understanding that I think we as witches, as practitioners have, that we understand that there's something larger than what we need. Yes, we would love to get everything we need, but many times for the sake of our coven, for the sake of our faith, for the sake of our beliefs, we know we're still good. Even in times of pain or suffering, we're still good. And I want them to be encouraged. I want all of your listeners to be encouraged, because in this time, the first place that everybody goes to is for healing. And they are going to come to us. So just keep yourself well fed, well cared for, well nourished, well loved, because we're here to help. We're here to heal.
Something that you point out in the book that's great about the Bible, as well as the accessibility of it. It's in almost every motel room, every bookstore. Excuse me. So how do you think that that's informed how people think about the Bible? It's become so ubiquitous that I think most of us, even fundamentalist Christians, haven't come close to reading the whole thing. It's just sort of like a lump. It's like a lump of paper that's everywhere.
Yeah, it's just a lump. Or they read John 3:16 and they go, "Yay, God so loved the world." Many of them don't even know what begotten means. So there's so many things that I think that one thing that I recommend that you do in the book, that I recommend because I do it myself, is I have a list of my go-to verses called Hoodoo to Go. These are the verses, the tried and true verses that I can use in any situation and be okay with. They will work with probably many of my clients. All of my clients know that I'm Bible-based. I have neutralized them to the point where they are strong where they need to be strong, and I try to make sure that they are not harmful in any way. Because it's so accessible, I feel that if you are ever in a situation where you go, I really need to do a nice little spell. Because I think many of us have been in that situation. We're in a meeting or we're in a restaurant and something just happened and you don't feel really well with it. It's not sitting well in your presence. And you go, Then you can whip out your phone and you can go to Bible.com and you can look up, this is something I need for this kind of feeling or emotion. And then you can make it yours and just recite it. And to me, that's the beautiful freedom, because you don't need anything other than that moment and that verse. And if you have a couple of you all together to say it together, that's even more power, right? Because any of the work that we do is magnified when we have more of us together. And that is why, to me, slave work was so important, because when we had the fire at the end of the night, when everyone would leave their cabins, when everyone would leave their huts, when everyone would leave their abodes, their slave dwellings, and they would go in the middle of a fire at the end of the night and all circle each other and keep each other held up in prayer with a verse. It wasn't a verse to, I hope we go back to get beat by the master. No. No. That isn't what they were singing.
No, ma'am.
No, that wasn't what they were singing. They were saying, okay, here's the deal. Master John beat me about 2 hours ago. I need something to help. You know what? Well, I have some of Master John's hair right here. Oh, you do? Oh, yeah, and I'm getting ready to make his breakfast in the morning. Oh, you are? Oh, yes, and I'm getting ready to do, oh, okay, so we're going to use everything we got around this fire with this Bible verse that they thought that they were going to use to keep us in slavery. And we're actually going to make sure that Master John doesn't touch us again. And that, to me, is so universal for anything that you're going through in your life, regardless of culture or ethnicity or background or orientation or identification. When you feel like you are being held down, I want you to use that same tool that people use to hold you down to bring you back up.
Thank you so much. So when I told you that I had paired you with Harriet Tubman, you got pretty excited. Can you tell me about your Harriet Tubman?
So with Harriet Tubman, for me, she is the North Star. She is, when I'm doing any work that has to ask for that direction, that North Star, which way am I going? Am I going the right way? I think when I go get a tarot reading, an astrology reading, I just had a reading from my friend yesterday with Seraphic Angels. And one of the things that I always ask her is, am I on the right path? How many of us have heard that, right, when you're doing a reading? Am I on the right path?
How many of us have asked it?
You asked it. Am I on the right path? And I believe that Mother Tubman gets you on that path. She led navies across paths. She led so many 300 slaves to their freedom, including her own family. So if anyone knows how to get from point A to point B, I'm going to use Mother Harriet. Yes, I'm going to use. And she used the same Bible that I have, the same Bible that you will have access to, the same Bible that your listeners will have access to do the same kind of work. And when she died at over 90 years old, she said, I go to prepare a place for you. So she is still making a path for us. So if you're doing when I'm doing any work, when I go, I'm doing a reading for you and I don't see a path yet, then I'm going to ask Mother Harriet, tell me what the path is for this person sitting across from me, because I don't know. And then when you allow her to come into you and she starts to slap you around,
because she would say, you die or you go on. Either way, you'll be free.
You go on.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was not a coddler.
No.
Not a coddler. No.
There was no coddling. And I believe that in our magic world, many of the powerful magic that we do is not about being coddled, right? I think that we have, as a society of practitioners, some of the time we want to do light and love a little bit too much when there needs to be that actual opposite, and we can't be afraid of that opposite. It's balance. Nature is balance. We need both.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, I've said 100 times that I prefer a friend who's going to grab me by the scruff of my neck and pull me off the cliff than someone who's going to go, great job, sweetie, and watch me walk off a cliff.
It was for a reason. No, it was for you to grab me and tell me, what are you doing, woman?
Yes, please. And if Harriet Tubman can do that for us, like, if she can't, who can?
Who can, right? There are so many different, and then there's stories of other ancestors that are of other faiths, other traditions, other gender, other culture, that if Harriet doesn't work for you, then maybe there's Kuan Yin, maybe there's someone else. And there's so many beautiful examples. And can we talk a little bit about appropriation?
Yes, please. Yes, okay. Please. Yes, please, Sherry Shone. Yes, please.
So in the book, I hope I help people understand that you do not have to be African American to celebrate and embrace Hoodoo. It is not appropriation to say, this speaks to my soul and I will respect it and its elders and its traditions as my own. That is something totally different than saying, I'm going to wear something white with a white garb and go into a cemetery on Halloween like it's a decoration, like a fest. That's different. That's an appropriation. This is you see it and know it and feel it in your body and soul, and you are carrying out your life purpose. Then you are carrying out your hoodoo the way you need to. And please do not let anyone else tell you, but you're Caucasian, but you identify as bi, but you identify as trans. You can't be hoodoo. Oh, you can be more than that. So please take that on. Take that on. Yeah? Okay.
I just want to say this again. If somebody tells you you can't be hoodoo, you think of Sherry Shone and tell them, I can be more. I can be more. Right? I can be more. Because how many of us come from backgrounds of the effects of the diaspora? We were taken from one homeland, brought to another, of not our own accord. Right? Some of us, even when it comes to relationships, we were taken from one place and put in another. We thought it was our own accord, and then we look back and we go, ooh, that wasn't what I wanted, and now I'm here. Even that, you can still ask for deliverance from hoodoo. We've been there. So you mentioned your clients a few times. Like, what do you do for your clients? What if someone booked a session with you? What would happen?
If someone books a session with me, then it's pretty unique. You might be silent. You might yell. I might bring out some cards. I might bring out a drum. I might bring out water. I might bring out wind. It just depends on what your ancestor is saying is going to speak to you. So if we do a reading, the first thing I do is I do a brief session of bringing us together. Do you remember how when we got started, you clapped your hands? You want to bring us, right? All of us have our ritual to bring us present into the situation to the point where I and the client are saying, I am present, I am here. And then I start to read the other ancestors in the room. And whatever they have to say, some of the time it's loud and profound, and some of the time it's so quiet that we don't do anything but maybe I'll drum my drum for 45 minutes. And I will just let them journey where they need to go. Some of the time, my great-grandmother will enter into the session, and she will start taking care of my client, and I'll just sit back and just go, well. And they'll come up from there, and they'll go, whoo, she took me to the river. Yes, she did. And now you're back. And what,
yeah. And what did we learn at the river? And
what did we learn at the river, girl? Because, whoo, man, yes. It just depends. It just depends. I've had some clients that need to have a spiritual cleaning of their home or their cars or their situations, and I will do that. I have clients that want to have a blessing for new things they want in their life, new ways they want to go, and they just want that blessing, and so we do that. If there's products I need to make, I work in the world of spiritual baths and spiritual cleansing. So when I mean go down to the river and clean yourself in water and things like that, yes, you can do something like that, but usually that's cold. That's cold. That's a lot of driving. I know it's fun. And right now, I'm in Oregon right now. I couldn't go to the mountains and do any prayer work. I can't. It's full of a whole bunch of ash and smoke and fire. I'm not going up to do a ceremony, but I can go into my bathroom with blessed waters that I've made from my own kitchen, that I've made from my own herbs that I grew myself. And I can do spiritual work and cleansing with those waters, right? I just finished doing a shipment of products, and I had my sister and my family laughing because we were all in the middle of the night, and I was in the middle of making all of my stuff. And they asked me, they said, well, what do you need when we go out? I said, I need 4 gallons of Everclear, and I have the rest in my garden. And they said, we are not going to the liquor store.
We're just gonna, and now us witches know that we use Everclear to make tinctures because it's like the perfect alcohol for this. But when you roll up with 4 gallons of Everclear, people don't think that you're gonna do craft with it.
They really don't, especially in rural Oregon. They look at you like you're making moonshine. They just look at you, but they still let you do it. And we made quite a few products. Now, I will say that if you're going to be using that as a tincture, for me with my spiritual products, I use it as a tincture, and I also dilute it about 50%, especially if I'm going to ship it, because I want to make sure that it meets those needs of never being flammable. So just be safe and careful. If you have anything that's a full 75% product, then don't have a whole bunch of candles burning while you're doing your bath, please. Okay. And the only reason I say that is because I've made wax melts and candle melts that were beeswax, lard, the whole bit, like we do, right? Like we do. And I had the little wax melt. And someone complained to me on my website and said, you never told me that I had to put that in a container.
I'm sorry.
And I said, okay, so now I need to do this on everything. Just don't eat it.
Don't shove it up your nose.
Don't drink the 72 Everclear with hyssop, please. Yeah. So we just have to be careful. But yeah, so that's what I do when I do any kind of work. We are now in an age where everything is remote. I do all of my sessions by Zoom. You can find me on Instagram, or you can go to my site on Sherry Shone on Wix.com and find me there. And you can schedule a visit with me. I do no less than 30 minutes. Usually by the time we do about 30 minutes, my clients kind of say, I should have got an hour. And I'm like, yeah. Because if you've done your work like I do my work, it takes about an hour. It really does. It really does.
Things don't even start to cook for like 20 minutes.
They really don't. And I also, now do you do emergency sessions?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am a student at first, and if anybody ever came to me for guidance, I would question them very, 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 very directly.
What are you doing?
Yeah. But I would say, I suggest you speak to Sherry Shone because she's going to help you with it.
Right. So, but I don't do emergency sessions. I have people that have said, I really need some work, I need some blessings, and I want you to do it tonight. No, I don't do that. Usually I'm booked out about 2 to 3 weeks in advance. So I do ask for kindness around being flexible, because what we do is important work, and it's not entertainment for me.
And certainly, like we were saying before, if you need a quote unquote emergency session, I feel like you're kind of digging up the seed before, or you're going to dig up this, like, I need this magic right now. I mean, no, it doesn't work like that.
No, this isn't fast food. I know there are others that can do and are happy to do really quick readings, but I have to get in touch with your guide. I have to commune with them. I have to be in the right frame of mind. I have to download all of that information and have it ready for you. So usually I've downloaded everything you need within 24 hours of our meeting, including herbs that you're going to need, Bible verses we're going to need, chants we're going to need, and have all that kind of ready so that when we get started, your ancestors will already beat me up and they've already told me. And I just sit back and just relay the message and shut up as much as I can. Because there are times when I'm like, ooh, I want to say, and they're like, shut up. You sit to the side.
I, Sherry, believe you to be gifted. Do you? Okay, you said thank you, so you don't disagree. Because I want to know, like, is this something I connect to my ancestors with my thoughts and my prayers and my feelings and offerings and all these different ways, but I certainly don't get the kind of messaging that I feel like you and Minty Harriet Tubman are getting. So obviously you've trained yourself, you're constantly educating yourself, but was it something by DNA or by divinity? How do you explain your gift? Can you?
I don't know if I can. And I think that all of us are gifted. I believe that it would be very vain of me to think, oh, this is mine, only I have it. No. I think that we have a presence and we have a nature about us as beings that all of us have the ability to do what I do. I really believe that. And I believe that the more we allow ourselves to tap into that, the bigger it gets. So by you being a student, right, you're still a teacher through your podcast. You're still a teacher when you share the wisdom You're still teaching, right?
I think, yeah, my method of asking questions, and I teach by asking questions that I want to know the answers to.
It's still a gift. It's still a gift. And all of us have different gifts that are given to us for us to use for whatever purpose we want, or for whatever purpose our divinity or our divine wants. And it's up to us to choose whether we're going to do that or not. I told myself I was not going to do this for many, many years. I would have dreams that would come true, and I would go, nope, that was just a movie I watched.
I think denying the gift is a classic part of the story. I think Harriet Tubman is the only story I ever read where she never denied her gift.
She never denied her gift. She was like, oh, this is me. And then she had that ailment where she got her head damaged, trying to protect someone else. And how many of us have noticed that we see things in a different way after trauma? And isn't that part of us learning our gifts, learning who we are? Right? We can't have sun all the time. There has to be rain and storm clouds and fires and tragedy, and it makes us beautiful, intelligent, wise beings.
Yeah. I maintain that we have this like limitless strength, but we only know the strength when we're tested. It's not the trauma that gives us the strength, it's the knowledge of the strength that the trauma gives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that us as a people, we are starting to connect more and more that what we are doing every day when we push back on the bully, when we push back on the person that tries to traumatize us.
You got some animal magic happening in yours.
Okay, yes, they are not happy. They're like, wait, there's some stuff going on. They are saying some things that we need to talk about. They were like, woof, woof, we agree. So, but yeah, I think that we have this innate ability that hopefully we're starting to see in shifts of change now, where we're getting these waves of energy that all of us kind of pick up on, where you'll be in a group of friends, even on Zoom, and you'll go, whoa, did y'all all feel that? That was something that was strong. Someone will say something, well, they'll share an experience they had, and it's like you see it in your head as they're telling you, and you're telling yourself, don't tell them what's going to happen next, but you know exactly what's going to happen next. And then when they say it, you're like, yeah, I was there. I saw it. I was with you. I love you. I'm part of your tribe. I was there. Right? That's not a coincidence.
So beautiful. Thank you so much, Sherry Shone. I'm going to let you get back to your dogs. But before I do, can you give me Jeremiah 20:11 one more time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was so happy with that one. Let me go back and find my page.
Okay, while Sherry Shone is looking for this page, I'm just going to say, please, especially if you have parents like me that you're trying to connect with over this thing that you don't really connect with, like the Bible and myself, check out the Hoodoo Guide to the Bible by Sherry Shone. Honestly, reading the book has already changed my psychological relationship with my family. And this is, and listeners, it's not expensive. It's really not.
It's $9.99. I didn't even make it $10. I was.
Sherry Shone loves us so much that she gave us her begotten book and gave for only $9.99. Once again, I mean, it really helped me because the Bible is something that is so important to so many people and so painful for so many other people, and the idea that that it's not a hard, fast stone object. I did mean to say that I sometimes object to Harriet Tubman being called Black Moses because Moses was black. Moses. So I prefer Mama Moses over Black Moses. But it's not carved into stone tablets. It's a thing that we can mold and shape and use for our own magic. And even if you don't identify mother as a powerful or comforting or loving term for you, just think of North Star. Just think of anything to bring that power back into you as you're working with your magic. Is so powerful and so important. Words mean so much. And if those words are hurting, then turn them around into something that helps. Mm-hmm. Please do. Yeah. And also remember that the Bible existed before the white supremacist colonial tool of the Bible.
Before all of that.
Before all
of
that.
It really did. It was not meant to be. It's one of the largest, some would even call it the largest selection of, it's the largest work of an accident. You know how you have a car accident and you have somebody say it and then another one say it, another one say their story, and another one say their story. If you think about it, the Bible is that. Hopefully that'll help too. It was a beautiful car accident of the beginnings of the world, and it's told by several different people that were all there. And they were all like, that isn't what happened. He jumped out the car. No, she jumped out the car. No,
the light was yellow. No, it was definitely red.
Yellow. No, it was definitely red. And now I'm bringing in these lost Bibles of the book where now I have the grandparents at the scene. I'm not helping.
And that, again, I think you said it was William Hahn, the Lost Books of the Bible.
It's the Lost Books of the Bible. He wrote this in roughly 1860s, I believe. But if you go to the Bible, to the book, that's the yellow and red, and it's made by, it was published by Chartwell Books. Chartwell. And it is a powerfully beautiful selection of work.
Yeah, it's gone, and it's skyrocketed to the top of my reading list for sure.
Okay, good. And if you ever read anything else, read the Book of Judith if you ever want encouragement as a woman.
I bought that book for my mother when it came out. just to wrap a little. So you're going to give us Jeremiah 29:11.
29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Spirit. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future.
Thank you so much, Sherry Shone.
You are very welcome.
You have shown such a beautiful light onto me on this fine evening.
And you show me a light by even allowing me to be on your beautiful podcast.
I'm so grateful, and I hope that this will be a continuing relationship. I just really had an amazing time
Yes,
tonight.
please reach out. I would love to learn from you as well, because you are a teacher.
And I am going to read your next book. Oh my God, I'm going to read the shit out of it. How soon? I don't want to. I don't want to dig your seed before it's bloomed, but
this one is taking a lot longer than the first one to make, and I just have to do it in its own perfect beauty. But when I pick up another chapter, when I was writing the chapter on the Columbine as a heroine, and just really quickly, I tie the Columbine to the shooting, to the eagle and the dove, and that dichotomy between the prayer and the prey. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Right?
Just finish the book. Finish the book, Sherry Shone. Finish the book. And for my Missing Witches Coven out there, Jeremiah 29:11. Let's start there.
Yeah.
I have a plan for you. Thanks again, Sherry. It's been an absolute.
You're very welcome. Much love to everyone. Mwah, mwah,
mwah.
You must be a witch.
Don't forget to go to foxglovefarm.com and use offer code MissingWitches.